So, yesterday we discussed a very important topic, that is aggregator transformation, right? Aggregator transformation is an active transformation which is used to calculate aggregated data based on a group. Aggregator transformation is an active transformation which is used to calculate the aggregated data based on a group. When you enable group by, aggregate functions are calculated on each and every group and returns the last row of each group. If you don't enable group by, integration service assumes complete table as one group and returns the last row of the table. How will you improve performance in aggregator transformation? Using sorted input, right? And what you need to ensure, whenever you enable sorted input, you need to ensure from source you are getting data in a sorted order. And we discussed about incremental aggregation. Generally, after the completion of session, your cache files are going to be deleted. But when you enable incremental aggregation, the cache files will not be deleted. Next time when you run the session, whatever record you get from source, checks for the corresponding group in the cache file. Which cache file? Index cache file. If it finds the corresponding group, it updates the cache file as well as it updates the target table. If it does not find, then it will insert into the cache file as well as it inserts into the target table, right? So today we'll discuss something about workflow properties. So guys, still know what we have done. For each and every session, we used to create a workflow, right? But in real time, it doesn't work in that way. For a group of sessions, you create a workflow. For group of sessions, you create a workflow. That is called batch. So what is batch? Batch is nothing but group of sessions is called as, excuse me. So group of sessions is called as batch. There are two types of batches in Informatica. One is called sequential batch, other one is called parallel batch. One is called sequential batch, other one is called parallel batch. Sequential batch. In a sequential batch, session executes one after the other. Batch, group of sessions is called as batch. There are two types of batches in Informatica. One is called sequential batch, other one is called parallel batch. One is called sequential batch, other one is called parallel batch. So what happens? In a sequential batch, your sessions will be in this way. Start task S1, S2, S3, S4. This is called sequential batch. Sequential batch means session executes one after the other. Session executes one after the other. After completion of one session, next session will execute. After completion of this session, other session will execute. Whereas parallel batch, how parallel batch works? This you can see in a row, in a row you can see, right? It will be in this parallel. Start task, all the sessions will be in parallel. That is called parallel batch. That means that is like all the sessions are triggered at same point of time. In sequential, session executes one after the other, whereas in parallel, all sessions are triggered at same point of time. Okay. So let me just create a sequential batch and show you. It's very simple. Workflow underscore sequential underscore batch. Group of sessions is called as batch. Just let me drag few sessions. Okay. Let me link it. Okay. Okay. I'm just renaming the sessions just for my understanding. Let me rename it as S1, From one session, you can access another session in this way. S2. Okay. S3. Okay. This is called sequential batch. Group of sessions is called as batch. There are two types of batches, sequential batch, parallel batch. In a sequential batch, what is going to happen? Session executes one after the other. Okay, in this way, your sessions are going to execute one after the other. Okay, this is called sequential batch, and this is called parallel batch. I'll just do copy and paste. In this way, you can change the workflows. Okay. Here, sessions will not link in this way. Then how they are linked? All sessions are linked with start task. All sessions are linked with start task. This is the way your parallel batch looks like. All sessions are linked to start task. Then how this executes? Did I save it? Okay. All sessions will trigger parallelly. So a very basic question: which batch performance will be good? Obviously, parallel batch performance will be good. Why? Because all sessions are triggered at same point of time. Then if if you feel parallel batch performance is good, then why one will go for sequential batch? Every time I'll go for parallel batch, right? Then why should I go for sequential batch? When you have dependency on the sessions, when you have dependency on the sessions, when you have dependency on the sessions, in those cases, you have to go for parallel batch. Just a second, guys, hold on. So what I was telling, yeah. In parallel batch, all sessions are triggered at same point of time. In parallel batch, all sessions are triggered at same point of time. Okay. So why one will go for sequential batch? When you have dependency on the sessions. When you have dependency on the sessions. What is that? If you get a requirement, okay, let me tell you very simple. This session extracts data from some XYZ table and loads into some ABC table. Okay. Session contains mapping. Mapping contains source and target. Let us assume this session extracts the data from A table and loads into B table. And in this session, the source is B table and the target is C table. And in this session, the sources are B and C tables. And this session, something dependent on this session. So what you understand by this? When this session has to execute, if this session complete, then only this session has execute. Why you think so? Because this session source is B table. This session target is B table. If you don't execute this session, then how data comes into this particular source table? This is called dependency. Okay, what I told you, this session contains two tables as source, and you are joining those two tables and getting into Informatica. So those two tables are target tables of these two sessions. So when this session has to run, if these two sessions get completed, then only this has to run, right? If not, what happens? This will trigger, but no data will be there. So that is called dependency. So guys, when you go for sequential batch, when you go for sequential batch, when you have dependency on the sessions, you need to go for sequential batch. When you have dependency of the sessions, you need to go for sequential batch. When you don't have any dependency on the sessions, in that scenarios, you have to go for parallel batch. Okay, now when you don't have any dependency on the sessions, in that scenario, you have to go for parallel batch. Okay, so there's a regular asked interview question. There's a regular asked interview question. Which scenario you go for sequential batch and which scenario you go for parallel batch? Okay, which scenarios you go for sequential batch and which scenario you go for parallel batch? Okay, now, okay, wantedly what I'll do, I'll fail this session. Wantedly I'll fail this session as per our requirement. Okay, let us see what happens. You have a dependency, right? Here I don't have any dependency, but just an assumption. So when this session has to get executed, when these two sessions get completed, wantedly I'll fail this session. Now let us see what is going to happen. How to fail the session? If I give the wrong file path, then it will fail, right? I have given file name wrong. Then what happens? Session will fail. Let us see what happens. Okay, even session got failed. This is least bothered. But no, if any of the session in my workflow fail, then rest of the session should not trigger because I have a dependency with this session. And the other point is, what is your workflow status, guys? That is wrong, right? In real time, you have 100 workflows. You won't open each and every workflow, and you won't check whether the session got succeeded or failed. Okay, you just check in this way, and you will be in assumption that workflows got succeeded. But if you dig into the workflow, few sessions got failed in it. Even though what is your workflow status? Succeeded. That is wrong. If any of the sessions in the workflow got failed, your workflow status should be failed. And the second thing is, if any of the sessions in the workflow in the sequential batch got failed, then the dependency session should not trigger. So here, I would like to show you two things. What are they? The first thing is, if any of the sessions in the workflow get failed, then the dependent session should not trigger. And if any of the sessions in the workflow get failed, then what happens? My workflow status should be failed instead of succeeded. So how will you handle this? You got my point, right? Here, 2 points I'm trying to tell you. What are they? First thing is, if any of the session in the sequential batch get failed, then the rest of the session should not be triggered and your workflow status should be failed. This is what I'm trying to show you. Okay, so guys, please see here. What all things you can see here, everything you can see in the workflow manager. What else you can see here? Status, start time, end time, status, source success rows, source fail rows, target success rows. What do you understand source success rows? These many records are read from source. What do you mean by source fail rows? Extracting the data from source, these are the records which got failed. What do you mean by target success rows? These are the records which got loaded into target table. Target fail rows, these are the number of records which got rejected and these are the number of errors. Okay. And start time, when the session got started and when the session got completed and whether the session status is success or failure. The same thing, whatever I shown you, you can see here. These are called link conditions. These are called link conditions. Can you see here? Can you see? So guys, how will you configure the dependency on the sessions? How will you configure the dependency on the sessions? Using link conditions. So what happens now? You'll be writing in this way, but in the backend, what it will take in this way. Informatica, if S1 status equal to succeeded, then it's true, or else false. What do you understand? If this session, first this session get executes, if this session is completed, then what happens? It will pass status as succeeded, and if that is succeeded, next session is triggered, and if this is succeeded, the next session should trigger. These are called link conditions. How will you configure the dependency on the sessions? How will you configure the dependency on the sessions? The dependencies on the sessions are configured using link conditions. The dependencies on the sessions are configured using link conditions. The dependencies in the sessions are configured using link conditions. And what else? If any of the session in my workflow got failed, what should be my workflow status? Failure. So how to do that thing? You just need to double click the session. You just need to double click the session and you need to enable this option. What is it called as? Fail parent if task fails. For each and every session in the workflow, you need to enable this option. Fail parent if task fails. Fail parent if task fails. Save it. Now see, when I execute the workflow, what is going to happen? After completion of this will trigger. But as this session got failed, the rest of the sessions in the workflow will not trigger, and your workflow status will be failure. Let us see whether I achieve the requirement or not. Got it? S3, S4 trigger, S3 and S4 have not triggered, right? Okay, now let me fix the issue. Let me set the file path correct. Okay, now see, all the sessions in the workflow will trigger. And one more regular asked interview question. They'll tell you, see boss, even if your S1 and S2 got succeeded, even if your S1 and S2 got succeeded, okay, sometimes what happen, your session will be succeeded, but because of some filter condition, nothing will get loaded into target table. In some scenarios, your session gets succeeded, but what happened, due to some filter condition, nothing got loaded into target table. But my requirement is, if S2 loads the data into target table, then only I want to trigger the S3. Session is succeeded. S2 is dependent session is succeeded, but because of some filter condition, nothing got loaded into target table. In this scenario also, I want to run in this scenario, I don't want to run dependent session. So if you understand me properly, what I'm trying to tell you is, S2 got succeeded, but due to some filter condition, nothing got loaded into target table. And I want to run my S3 when S2 loads data into target table. So how to handle this type of scenario? You understand my point? Yeah. What you need to do is, in real time, generally what they do, S2 status equal to succeeded, and this is a very important question, and they'll write target success rows as greater than 0. That means what? Even if a single record got loaded into target table, run the dependent session. Just for your understanding, what I'm going to do, what is the target success was here? 26. So what I'm going to do, I'll be writing a filter condition, target success rows greater than 26. Now what happened, guys? This session will be succeeded, but as the target success rows are less than or equal to 26, the remaining dependent sessions will not trigger. But in real time, you won't put 26 or 20, you'll put 0. Target success rows greater than 0. That means even if a single record got loaded, then run the next session. See here, the remaining, did this session trigger? No, right? See here, only two sessions will trigger, third and fourth will not trigger. Okay, now in real time, generally you won't put greater than 26, but you will put in this way, greater than 0. That means even if a single record got loaded into target table, run the dependent sessions. Okay, so group of sessions is called as batch. There are two types of batches in Informatica: sequential batch, parallel batch. In a sequential batch, session executes one after the other, whereas in parallel batch, all sessions are triggered at same point of time. In which scenarios you go for sequential batch and which scenarios you go for parallel batch. When you have dependency on the sessions, you need to go for sequential batch. When you don't have any dependency on the sessions, you need to go for parallel batch. Okay, which batch performance will be good? Obviously parallel batch performance will be good. How will you configure the dependency on the sessions? Using link conditions, you can configure the dependency on the sessions. Now, someone told you, I executed the workflow, I executed the workflow, but one of my session got failed, and I enabled this option, fail parent if task fails, and the rest of the sessions has not triggered. Okay, and looking at the log file, I have fixed the issue. So after you fix the issue, what is the restart logic you follow? Will you click on workflow and start workflow? What happens when you click on workflow and start workflow? All the sessions are again triggered. Why you want to run all the sessions when up to here the sessions got completed? So what is the restart logic you follow? After I fix the issue, I'll just point to the session where it got failed, and I'll right click. From there, I'll click on start workflow from task. Then what is going to happen from this task? The rest of the workflow will be triggered. Can you see here? No, no. All my sessions in the workflow got completed. I just want to run one of the session which got failed. I have not used link conditions, but my all sessions got succeeded. Only one of the session got failed. So how will you handle this type of scenario? Just click on a session which you want to trigger and click on start task. Only that particular session will be triggered. Only that particular session will be triggered. Okay. So this is about batch, sequential batch, parallel batch. Okay. Now I would like to tell something about till now what we are doing, guys. Every time we are creating a session in the task developer, right? Every time we are creating a session in the task developer. I can also create a session in the workflow designer, but why I'm not creating a session in the workflow designer? Let me tell you. I'm creating a session in the workflow designer, right? I'm creating a session in the workflow designer with some name, and I'll point to some mapping, click on done. Okay, save it. Now guys, please see here. What is the session name which I created? S underscore M underscore reusable, right? Can you see that particular session in this window? Can you see anywhere that particular session? Why? Because whenever you create that session in the task developer, then only you can see that particular session here. And when you create a session in the workflow designer, you can see only in a specific workflow. Which workflow I can see, guys? Sequential batch. Open this, you can see here. Okay, what is the difference you feel? See, when you create a session in the task developer, that session can be dragged in any of the workflow which you are interested. You agree or not? In any workflow, you can drag that particular session. That means what? It is called reusable session. But when you create a session in the workflow designer, that particular session is used only for a specific workflow. You can't drag that particular session in any of the workflows. What you understand? If you create a session in the task developer, that is called as reusable. That means that particular session can be dragged in any of the workflows which you require. But whatever task, whatever session you create in workflow designer, that is called non-reusable session. That particular session is used only for a specific workflow. Now the next question will be, can't I revert, can't I convert a non-reusable to reusable? Can't I make, can I not, can't I convert a non-reusable to reusable? Yes, you can. How to convert a non-reusable to reusable? Very simple. Whatever task you create in Workflow Designer is called as, whatever task you create in Workflow Designer is called as non-reusable. Whatever task you create in Task Developer is called as reusable. My question is, can't I convert a non-reusable to reusable? Yes. But once you convert it, you can't revert it back. What do you understand? Once you make a non-reusable to reusable, again you can't make it to non-reusable. How to do it? Double click. What you can see here, guys? Make reusable. So what it is telling? Once you convert, once you convert, once you convert a non-reusable to reusable, again you can't revert it back. Now see where you can see that particular session. Can you see that session here? Now you can drag this session in any of the workflow. I believe you understand what is the difference creating a session in the task developer and workflow designer. Whenever you create a task in the task developer, it is called reusable session, or whenever you create a session in the task developer, it is called as reusable session. And whenever you create a session in the workflow designer, it is called as non-reusable session. Can I convert a non-reusable to reusable? Yes. Once you convert it, again you can't revert it back. Okay. Now you are clear with task developer and you are clear with workflow designer. Here something called as workload designer. What is workload? Very simple. What is workload? Workload is nothing but workflow. It's very simple. Workload is nothing but workflow. Whatever batch you define in a workflow, that particular batch is used only for a specific workflow. But whatever batch you define in a worklet, that batch you can drag it in any of the workflow which you require. What is worklet? Set of reusable sessions is called as worklet. Set of reusable sessions is called as worklet. Why one will go for worklet? To avoid the complexity of workflow designer, you have to go for worklet. I'll just give you a small scenario and let me explain you. Let us assume I have a requirement in this way. In a single workflow, I have all these sessions. Let us assume in this way I have a workflow. Okay, okay. So if you look at this design, I want to break up this code. I don't want to keep this number of sessions in a workflow designer. What I'll do, I'll just create three worklets here, and it is all sessions I'll integrate into one worklet. I want to break up the complexity of the code. I don't want to keep n number of sessions in a single workflow. Then how to do? Click on worklet designer. See, worklet is nothing but workflow. See, click on worklet designer, give a worklet name, give a worklet name, and see here how many sessions are there in the first pipeline? Four sessions. So what you need to do? Drag just an assumption. Drag the four sessions. Okay. Task, link it up. Okay. Save it. You can create a sequential worklet as well as you can create a parallel worklet. It's up to you. Same like workflow. Okay, you can create a sequential worklet as well as you can create a parallel worklet. In this way also you can do it. Okay. Same like workflow, nothing difference. So in whatever way you want to configure, you can configure it. Now what I'll do, instead of keeping all sessions in a single workflow, what I'm going to do, see here. Instead of keeping all the sessions in a single workflow, what I'm going to do, forget about all this. There are no more because I removed the link condition from the start task. What I'll do, you can delete this, it's not required, but just I'm keeping them. You just drag the, see whatever worklets you create, you'll see here. Just drag those worklets. So guys, what happened? Your complexity got reduced, right? Forget about this, these are no more. You can just delete it, but I don't want, okay, you can delete it, not a problem. Okay, so guys, this is called worklet. Now I would like to see what all what all sessions or what all tasks are there in this particular worklet. What you do, right click, open worklet. Okay, I would like to see in this worklet what all tasks are there. See, worklet, it's very simple. Worklet is nothing but a workflow. But whatever code whatever batch you define in a workflow, that batch is used only for a specific workflow. But whatever batch you define in a worklet, whatever batch you define in a worklet, that particular batch, see, I can drag that batch in any of the workflow which I'm interested. How? See, I can just drag it. But can you drag a workflow into another workflow? Can you drag a workflow into another workflow? No, right? Can you drag a workflow into another workflow? No. But can a worklet can be dragged in n number of workflows which I am interested. So what you understand by this? Worklet is nothing but a workflow, but whatever batch you define in a workflow, that batch is used only for a specific workflow. But whatever batch, it can be a sequential batch or parallel batch. Whatever batch you define in a worklet, that is called a reusable batch, that you can drag it in any of the workflow which you are interested. The definition of worklet is set of reusable sessions is called as worklet. Set of reusable sessions is called as worklet. Why will you work with worklet? To avoid the complexity of workflow designer, you go for worklet. To avoid the complexity of workflow designer, you'll go for worklet. Am I clear, guys? Okay, so it executes same like your workflow only. So forget about success and failures. It will just trigger all the sessions. Okay, okay. In this way, it will trigger. Okay, you can't execute worklet manually, guys. Is there any start task? Even though you have a start here, worklet can't be triggered manually. If you want to trigger the worklet, it has to trigger through workflow only. Okay, it has to trigger through workflow only. Okay, so this is called. So what all things we discussed? Sequential batch, parallel batch, depend how to configure the dependencies of the sessions in the workflow, and we discussed about worklet, right? Okay. Now I would like to tell you some important things. I have a requirement in this way. I have a requirement in this way where I have, group of sessions. Let me just rename for better understanding purpose. Okay. Now, if S1 and S4 both get successfully completed, then only I want to run S2. Then how will you configure this dependency? You understand, right? Generally what you do, this is in sequential batch, this is in parallel batch. Now I have a dependency. What is that? Let us assume this. If S2 and S5 both get successfully completed, then only I want to run which one? S3. So how will you configure this dependency? Very simple. In Informatica, we have a task called as decision task. In Informatica, we have a task called as decision task. It is same like link conditions only, but instead of giving multiple link conditions, you can go for decision task. So what decision it will take? After completion of these two sessions, it will take a decision whether to run this session or not. The name itself is telling you, right? Decision. But how? Let us see. So guys, what I need to do, generally what you do, you will link from two sessions to this third session and you will write a link condition. S2 status equal to succeeded and S5 status equal to succeeded in the link conditions. You can write, no issues. But instead of writing in the link conditions, Informatica has provided a task called as decision task. So what I need to write here? Which two sessions, guys? S2 and S5. S2 status equal to succeeded and watch. Then what it returns? If both the sessions are succeeded, it returns true, or else it returns false. Then what happens? If true means you need to run the S3 session. If it is true means you have to run the S3 session. If it is false means it won't trigger. Let us see. Wantedly I'm failing this session. Wantedly I'm failing this session. I'm just giving wrong connection. Okay? Wantedly I'm failing this session. Why are you getting this revert button, guys? Have you noticed this? Did you ever notice this? Whenever I make any changes, why I'm getting this revert button? Because this session was created in Task Developer but not in Workflow Designer. The session was created in Task Developer and the Workflow Designer, I'm overwriting the information which I created at the Task Developer level. That's the reason I'm getting here. When I make any changes, it is getting revert. But if you point to that original session where you created Task Developer, there you see what was the relational connection which you have given at the time of creation. So when you click on revert, automatically this will be synced with that particular connection. See here. This was the connection which I created in the task developer, given in the task developer. When I overwrite anything at the workflow level, then you get this revert button. That will tell you, see, there is a difference code. You have some option in the session and you have some other option in the workflow. Now what happened, guys? This will success, this will success, this will success, but this will get failed. When this will get failed, this decision task returns condition false. So false, this will not trigger. What happened? This got failed. Then what happened? Decision task every time gets success. It never get fails. But what it has written? It has written a filter condition as false. When it is written false, then what happens? This will not trigger. Okay. So let me fix the issue and let me rerun. Okay. Instead of multiple link conditions, you can go with decision task. Am I clear? Okay. Now I have a requirement. Very simple. I have a requirement. What is that is? Okay. You know what happens when I trigger the workflow, right? What happens when I trigger the workflow, guys? How sessions are executed? These three sessions will trigger in parallel. What happens next? After completion of this, this will trigger, and after completion of this will trigger, and after this both sessions got successfully completed, then this will trigger, right? Now my requirement is when I click on workflow, start workflow, this session should not start. When this session should start? If this particular session gets successfully completed, then only I want to start this session. These are the scenarios where you get in real time to configure. It's not mandatory you get these requirements. It depends upon the scenarios. I'm assuming I have a scenario in this way. What is that scenario? When I trigger the workflow, this particular session should not trigger. When this particular session should trigger? When after completion of the S3, then only this has to trigger. But generally what happens when you trigger on workflow, start workflow, your S3 will also be parallelly triggered. Your S3 will also be parallelly triggered, right? But I don't want to trigger my S3. I don't want to trigger the S3. When I want to trigger my S3, I want to trigger it when all the sessions got successfully completed in the workflow. How will you handle this? Not S3, S5. Okay. So there are some tasks called as event raise and event wait. There are some tasks called as event raise and event wait. Let me explain you. Event raise and another task is called as event wait. Okay. By looking at the diagram only you can understand what's happening here. Wait, it's waiting. But for what it waits? Okay, but for what it waits? Okay, looking at the diagram, what you understand, guys? This session is not triggered, but it is waiting for something. Antenna symbol you can see. But what signals it is waiting? Here what you can see? You can see something. What relation you can see with these two diagrams? Something like transmitter and receiver. Something like transmitter and receiver. Transmitter and transmitter and receiver, right? This particular task is triggering some alarm. That alarm is received by this particular antenna. But what it will trigger, what this will receive? This is a question. See guys, this task every time gets success. It never get fails. Apart from session task, all the task every time will get success, never fails. Okay, this task every time gets success, but when it gets success, it triggers a message. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Event raised task every time it gets success, and when it turn comes, it just it just throws a message. It just throws a text message. What is that? Double click on the event raised task. What you can see here? Properties. What you can see here? User defined event. Who is the user here? We are the users. So how to define an event? Very simple. Click on workflow. Click on workflow. Click on edit. What you can see here, guys? Click on events. And in this way, you need to define an event. You can name it anything. I'll be naming it as S3 underscore success. So guys, what happens when this particular session gets success? This task will trigger. This task will trigger, and it will publish a message called as S3 underscore success. Now what happens? This particular test should receive by event wait task. Whatever test event raise task has triggered, that particular test, this has to capture. But how? Double click on event wait, click on events. What you can see here, guys, event wait task is defined with two properties. One is user defined event, other one is file watch event. So just know what you have worked. You created an event. Who created an event? User has created an event. So whenever you work with an event raised task, it is mandatory you need to work with event wait task. This is a combination. Because what event raised tasks do? Event raised tasks just trigger the message when it turn comes, and that message is captured by event wait task using this user defined user defined in an option. Is this the message which event raised task is triggering? Yes. Now what happened, guys? These three sessions are triggered in parallelly. This will execute, but this will not execute because it will wait. For what it will wait? It will wait until this particular task got reached. Now, what is my requirement? If this S3 gets successfully completed, if it is successfully completed, then only I want to run S6. So what is the link condition you put, right? What is the link condition you put here, guys? S3 status equal to succeeded. When you want to trigger a message, when this session gets successfully completed, if the session got failed, why you want to trigger this task? You understand my point? When you want to run this task, when this session gets successfully completed, if your session got failed, then why you want to trigger event rest task? Your concept is to trigger the S6 when S3 gets successfully completed. If S3 got failed, then you should not trigger the event rest task, which triggers an event. Okay, now save it. Now what I'll do, wantedly I'll fail this session. Wantedly I'll fail this session. Then what happens? If I fail this session, what is going to happen is, what happens if I fail this session? This will not trigger. When this will not trigger, this event wait will be in a running mode forever because it waits for a test message, but it has failed, so it won't get a test message. So it will be running forever. They'll ask you, have you ever worked with event raise and event wait? You can just simply explain this scenario. Now see, your session fails, your event wait will be in a running mode. This will be in a running mode forever. Oh, what happened? Session got succeeded. How come? Even though I have given wrong connection, session got succeeded. I have changed your connection, right? But how? In this particular system, there's a table, there's a source table employee. I change the relational connection, but in that particular system there is a table. So what I'll do, I'll just make it to something like target connection. Hmm? Can you see now? Okay, look at the desktop. Okay, so click on apply, click on OK, save it. Now restart the task again. Workflow, start workflow. Now see, your S3 got failed. And what is your event wait status? It will be running forever. It will be running forever. Because event raised task has not triggered. When event raised task got triggered and it triggers a message, that message will be captured by event wait. Then only it will get succeeded and it will run the next sessions in the pipeline. But what happened here? Event raised task has not triggered, so it is waiting. Then what you do? You right click and you click on stop or abort, right? There's also a task in the workflow. This is not really much important, which fails the workflow through, which fails the workflow through workflow manager. It's not important, which fails the workflow through workflow manager. If any dependencies got not matched, then you can fail the workflow by using this control task. It's not required. Control task which is used to stop or abort the workflow. Control task which is used to stop or abort the workflow. Now let me fix the issue. Okay, let me restart. Now it will get completed. Okay. So event wait task is used with two options. One is event raise task, nothing but user defined event, and another one is called as file watch event or predefined event. What is file watch event or predefined event? Okay, let us assume one of my session contains source. One of my session contains source, and source is a flat file. Source is a flat file. This particular session loads the data into a flat file, and that flat file is a source for this particular session. Let us assume a scenario. Then guys, when this S6 has to be triggered, when this gets successfully completed. Okay, so this event wait task and this particular session, let us assume it is delivering a flat file, and that flat file will be loaded into the landing directory path of this file, whatever source directory path you give. So this event wait task checks whether the file has arrived or not. You can give a path over here. When you work with source as a flat file, what you give? You give the source file directory path and you give the source file name, right? Here you can give the directory path and you can give the file name. So as soon as the file has arrived into that particular directory path, then this task will get success and it will run the next session. So guys, event wait task is used with event raise task as well as it is used to configure the file watch event or predefined event. File watch event is nothing but it waits for a specific file to be placed in the given landing directory. And user defined event, what is that? User defined event is something where you work with event raise task. Okay, this is something about event raise task, event wait task, decision task, and there is some task, there is one more task which is called as timer task. This is also not important. Why? Means it's very simple, to be frank. Okay, you have a requirement where after this session you have to wait for 10 minutes and you want to run this session. Okay, what is timer task? A timer task which is used to set the relative time between two sessions. A timer task which is used to set the relative time between two sessions. What you want me to explain here? What is timer task? A timer task is used to set the relative time between two sessions. Okay, a timer task is used to set the relative time between two sessions. Okay. 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 One more very important task that is called as command task. That is called as command task. Okay. I have a requirement, guys. This is a very regular interview question. I have a requirement. I have three workflows. Okay. This is one workflow. This is one workflow. And this is second workflow. And this is third workflow. My requirement is if first workflow gets successfully completed, automatically second workflow has to trigger. If second workflow got successfully completed, automatically third workflow has to trigger. There should be no manual intervention. How will you handle this scenario? Okay. There's a task called as command task. There's a task called as command task using the syntax called as PMCMD. There's a syntax that is called as PMCMD. You can trigger the workflow. Every time you are triggering workflow, start workflow, right? I won't touch this. My next workflows will trigger based on the PMCMD command task. So what is the syntax of command that PMCMD? PMCMD start integration service name, domain name, username, password, in which folder your code is there, folder name, and the workflow name. I already developed this code in my previous project, so let me just drag that particular syntax from here. This is the syntax, guys. I told right, PMCMD, start workflow, integration service name, domain name, username, password, and which folder your code is there, and which is the workflow you want to trigger. Okay. Command task, which is used to execute the unit scripts as well as which is used to execute the batch scripts. Our folder is batch 52, right? Okay. So what you need to do, it's very simple. Click on task, click on create, okay. Command task, and give a name cmd1 something like that. Click on create, click on done, okay. Click on commands, add a command, okay. So which workflow I want to trigger? Which workflow I want to trigger? This workflow. Command, add a command, okay. Okay guys, PMCMD start workflow integration service name. My integration service name is ETL underscore int. The domain name, if you don't know all those things, you can just do one thing. Open repository manager or mapping designer, whatever you want. And where you can see all this information is. Here you can see guys. So what is your domain name? Same thing I have given here, right? And what is your username? Admin. What is the password? Admin. Okay. And what is your integration service name? ETL underscore int. Where you can see your integration service name. Is this not an integration service? Right. Okay. So, okay, which workflow I want to trigger? This is the workflow which I want to trigger. So let me change the syntax. Okay. So I'm in which folder? Batch 52. Okay. And what is my workflow name? EXP. Okay. This is the syntax. Then what happens? After completion of this, automatically this workflow is triggered. And again, which workflow this has to trigger? It has to trigger the next workflow. It has to trigger the filter workflow. Which workflow, guys? Okay. Okay. Command task, which is used to execute the unit scripts as well as batch scripts. Okay. Command task, which is used to execute the unit scripts as well as batch scripts. Okay. So here, what I have done, I have a scenario where I have three workflows. If first workflow gets successfully completed, automatically second workflow has to trigger. If second workflow gets successfully completed, automatically third workflow has to trigger. How will you handle this scenario? Using command task, you can handle the scenario. And one important point you need to remember is what I told, when my second workflow should trigger, if all the sessions in the first workflow get successfully completed, then what you need to write? You need to write a link condition for every task. I'm not writing here for only one. I'm doing rest of the things you do it while you practice. So you need to write a link condition for all the sessions. Okay. Then only you want to execute the remaining workflows, right? Okay, but I don't want to execute this workflow, start workflow. I want to schedule this workflow. This is very simple, guys. Nothing to explain here. Click on workflows, click on edit. What you can see here. Okay, click here. By default, okay, it's very simple. Click on workflows, click on edit, click on scheduler, click on the scheduler button, click on the schedule. By default, what you can see here, that means what? Whenever user want to execute the workflow, just click on workflow, click on start workflow. But I don't want to execute the workflow manually. I want to schedule it. Run on demand, just uncheck. What you want me to explain here? Start date, at which time you want to run the workflows, right? At which time we want to run the workflow. Run once. You can see this, nothing to explain here. Run once, run every, end after. Customize repeat. This is something which is important. When you click on customize repeat, it will ask you, do you want to run a weekly load or do you want to run a monthly load, etc. These all days I want to trigger the workflow. Run once, run every, etc. Click on. You can just explore this. Nothing to worry here. When you see in the workflow monitor, what will be the status now? It will be scheduled. Can you see here? So when this workflow is going to trigger? 8:57. See, at 8 sharp 8:57, that workflow will be triggered. In production, all workflows will be in a scheduled mode. In production, all your workflows will be in a scheduled mode. Okay. Now let us see the output. So this is for the day. Today we discussed interesting topics: batch, sequential batch, parallel batch, configuring the dependencies on the sessions, and we discussed about the tasks, right? These all topics we covered. See, after completion of one workflow, automatically second workflow is getting triggered. Okay, this is all about command task, guys. You can execute the batch scripts, unit scripts also. I just shown you one batch script. Okay, so that's for the day. Any questions? Any questions?
No,
Okay.
I'm okay.
Okay, just look into the recorded session once again so that you get a clarity. This all depends upon the scenarios what you get. It's not mandatory you get the scenarios. Based on the scenarios, you need to have an idea which tasks are used. Okay, so this is an important session. Okay, guys, tomorrow will be joiner transformation, which is very important. Okay, that's for the